Thank you so much for watching Culture Fix. I am Andrew, and I am delighted to be joined by the brilliant singer-songwriter Alex Sampson. Alex
I'm
has
Alex.
just released his new single, Misery, which is so good. It is so catchy. And he has a brand new EP coming called Growing Pains. So thank you so much for joining me, Alex. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
So this must be a bit of a busy time, always like having a new single out, having to promote it. But has the reception to Misery been as good as you hoped?
Yeah, honestly, better than I hoped. People love it. It originally wasn't going to be the single at the time, but I really pushed for it because, I was on tour and I was performing my entire new EP. And that was one of the songs that was getting the most attention. And I was like, let's put this one out because the fans really love it. And they loved it and they still do. It's doing very well. And I'm very happy with it.
Yeah, it's got such a catchy hook and it just stays with you. It's been going around my head all day. I would love to know the kind of the experience of creating that song in the studio. Was it quite a spontaneous track, or had you been kind of working on it for quite a long time?
It was very spontaneous, to be honest with you. I went to Gibson in Vancouver. It's like a little kind of, I don't even know. I'm terrible at geography. I went to Canada and I went to this cabin for like a week with some songwriters. And we just wrote the song. We wrote a bunch of songs, and Misery was one of them. And, I really like a good shuffle. I have multiple songs that are a shuffle, Blind being one of them. And so we just started going off, and one of the writers came up with the concept. And there's actually going to be this whole almost like short, not short film, but little documentary on my YouTube channel once the EP comes out of writing all of the songs we did that week, including Misery, and some that aren't on the EP. But it was very spontaneous. We all kind of put our heads together. And I think it was honestly the second song we wrote that week, which was, starting off strong. And it was amazing. Yeah, we just kind of bounced off of each other. I took inspiration from a past relationship that I was in, and it came together very quickly. And it was just a really fun one.
Do you prefer the songwriting experience to the kind of recording and the kind of production side of things, or do you like all of it?
I like all of it. Right now, I'm really just like the songwriter and the singer, but I really want to get into production as soon as I can afford to get the right stuff. I'm very excited. I love how intricate it is and diving into it, and I would just love to be able to do it on my own, especially when I'm home. I'm home in Canada right now. I'm not doing writing sessions. I can pick up my guitar and write a song, but in terms of producing it and getting my vision out there, I can't do that yet. And it's funny for me because I'll be in the studio and I won't know the exact terms for things. So I'll be like, could you make the guitar just go like do 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 do? I'm probably the most annoying person there. So until then, I'm really just songwriting, trying my best to throw ideas to the producers. But I want to get there one day.
That's quite a skill though, to be able to kind of just like, can you do this thing with that, and
I know
kind of
it's so
fine
hard for
tuning
me to
it.
explain. I know, but the people that I work with, they start to understand me. They're like, "Yeah, I got you. I know exactly what you mean."
They speak Alex.
Exactly. They speak out.
Do you find you mentioned that you were recording and writing that in Vancouver? Obviously, Vancouver really famous for the nice nature and like the kind of picturesque setting. Is that an inspiration to you when you are in that kind of creative period?
Yeah, no, for sure. It was a beautiful place. We were staying in this cabin. It had a hot tub, a cold plunge, and it
Nice.
had a beautiful view of the lake. And it was very Canada. We had a fire every night, cooked food. It was amazing, and I think it really helped bring out the creativity in us just being in a place that wasn't Los Angeles. And we came up with some really great ideas, and I don't know if we would have come up with them if we weren't there.
Yeah, it's a real culture shock. I often find it in the UK, even when we go to the US and like LA, it's manic.
Yeah.
It takes a bit of adjusting to kind of get
Yeah,
used to
it
it.
does. It,
Yeah.
it does. I didn't realize how stressed out I was until I got home, and I just like went like it was like it gets to you.
Yeah, I bet. What are the main themes that you want to tackle on the EP?
I love that question. For me personally, this pro sorry, I'm a little sick. This project for me really highlights growing up. That's one of the main topics that I wanted to write about when I got into the studio to write this project. It covers a variety of things, things that everybody goes through, growing up, losing somebody, falling in love, getting your heart broken. And I really just kind of wanted to make a project that has all the feelings of growing up. And so that's the main force, I guess you could say.
And did the title, and obviously I know you've released Growing Pains as a single, did the title feel really like this is the title of the EP and there was no real question about it, or did you kind of go back and forth?
Yeah, I was thinking about it, and the more I wrote the songs, the more I pieced the project together. It just always felt like the right title. Um, Growing Pains as a whole conceptually just makes sense for the EP, and I think having that be the title kind of encapsulates everything and into this world that I was trying to build. Because I was thinking maybe I just call it Alex Sampson, but that's boring and narcissistic, and I don't want to do that. So Growing Pains felt like the right thing to title it, especially after the lead single. Uh, so yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's got that nice double meaning of like getting older, life kind of does get hard, and as you say, you have to lose things and lose people, and it is that sense of as you grow, things are painful, which is sad.
yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, and it covers growing up. It covers losing people. It covers your family getting older. It covers so many things about growing up that you can't avoid, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I just wanted to make a project that people could listen to and understand that they're not alone in that.
When you're making the EP, do you kind of have a sort of sense in your head of what you want the listener to feel when they listen to it, or do you just kind of want to get your feelings out and hope that people relate to that?
It's a little bit of both. Writing songs for me is a way of therapy. If I'm going through something, I like to write about it to get it off my chest. But I'm always thinking about the fans. I'm always thinking about how they'll react to a certain lyric, a melody. I after doing all these live shows, I think about writing music drastically different. Because I'll be writing a song and I'm like, oh, this would be cool for a live moment where people could clap or put their phone lights out or, sing it back to me. But I'm always thinking about the fans and I'm always thinking about ways that I could put a feeling into a song that not only helps me feel better, but helps them feel better because I like to write my songs as personal as I can. But with that, I also like to keep it as open as possible so people can listen to it and be able to take it and put it about whoever they want, whatever they want. Because if I write a song and I like name drop people, which isn't a bad thing, and I have done that, it kind of makes it difficult for somebody to take it and make it about whoever they want, unless they have people that are those, I mean, there'll be that one person out there that like, oh, you wrote this for me. But
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think it's obviously so cathartic as a songwriter to get these emotions out, and it must be quite interesting to then see, especially when you're performing them live, people like engaging in a certain way to how you felt. It's a cool concept.
it's really cool. It's one of my favorite parts of doing it. And
Um,
just seeing people it's nuts because my fans, I have the most dedicated fans, and so I'll sing one song that's not out yet live, and then one, they'll just beg me for it for eternity, and two, the next show they'll be singing it, and I'm like, how do you know the words? It makes no sense. So I got to be very careful with what I tease, what I post, because I have so many songs that people are still asking me for that I have teased like 5 years ago that are probably never going to see the light of day. So yeah, but having them sing lyrics back to me, especially songs that mean the world to me, it's really cool.
Maybe you'll just suddenly think, okay, I'll maybe leak a couple of these, just
Yeah, I
drop
mean,
them
hey,
online.
I do it all the time, probably more than I should. But yeah, it's part of the job. You never know what's going to take off.
And that's part of the excitement as a fan, that kind of the tease of the music and little snippets or little photos of like a studio recording, thinking like, what's going on there? Like it's all part of the build up and the excitement of kind of following an artist.
Absolutely, yeah. I love to be. Uh, I post probably too much. I don't leave really anything up to you know what's Alex doing today. You can just find out. Which I at the moment I love doing that. I love interacting with my fans. I love posting them in the studio. I love sharing a little snippet of a song I wrote that day. I love being I want to say accessible, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
At the moment, I like having people be like, "Oh, I wonder what Alex is doing today," because I want to feel like a friend as well as an artist, and I want them to feel not just like fans, but like a friend and a family. Like, oh, what's he doing today? I want to know what he's doing. Oh, he's in the studio. That's great. Oh, he's at home, sick. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and you are at home feeling sick, so
I am. Yeah, I am at home feeling sick. My dog is screaming. I am allergic to him.
no, it's we'll keep you going. We'll keep your energy levels high. Um, I would love to think about Pretty Baby because that was such a big viral moment. What was the story behind that track? What was inspiring you? Because it's kind of a classic nostalgic track, isn't it?
Yeah, thank you. When I wrote Pretty Baby, I really wasn't thinking anything of it. I really just wanted to write a song that felt, you know, kind of. I wanted, I wanted to make a song you could slow dance to, and at the time of writing it, I didn't have one. And it was actually the producer's idea to make it kind of 60s, 70s, almost retro. And I was like, cool, let's do it. So we wrote it, moved on. Wrote like two other songs that week. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was like, oh, this is the one. But shortly after that, I got the go ahead that I was going to do AGT, and everybody and their grandma was like, you should do Pretty Baby, and I was like, okay. And then I did it on the show, and it did very well. It went on the iTunes charts, and then that was it. It had a really big moment at Canadian radio, and then it kind of just chilled. And then I go on tour, and of course, everything with that video happens, and then it's just going and having a whole new life. I think it got like 7 million streams since tour started and ended, which is crazy. And now it's just kind of taken a whole life of its own. It's brought me so many new fans. I'm so excited. It's sold out so many shows on my first headline tour, and yeah, I mean, I love the song. And to be honest with you, if you would have come to me a year ago and said, "Hey, Alex, like you're gonna go on tour next year, and Pretty Baby's gonna have a huge viral moment," I would be like, "That makes sense." It's like it's the one song that I would be like, "Yeah, I bet money on that one."
Um, what is the secret? Like, is there anything you've learned from putting that song out now that you think like, if I do that again, I might have another viral hit?
You know what? Yes and no. For me, it did very well, and it's in a sound and in kind of its own bubble that I wanted to make and then leave. I don't really want to make music like that for the rest of my life, but I know that if I went and I did, it would do good. And that's kind of like the weird thing in my head. I'm like, why don't I just go do that and be that guy? I don't want to do that. And seeing the reaction, I can take elements from it because I really did that because of AGT. Because Pretty Baby was the only song I had that was in that area, in that world. And after I did it on the show, I had everybody come to me being like, you need to do more songs like that because if you go to the next, if you go to the live shows and all of a sudden you're singing a pop song, people are going to be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So I wrote a whole EP for the show, put it out, and I was like, okay, that's done. And of course, 2 years later, it's still the one song that keeps doing well, and I'm like, damn it. So I'll for sure take elements, and maybe one day I'll make another song like that, but who knows? I mean, it's really just luck. You know what I mean? I would not have guessed that video would have taken off like that. I prayed about it before the tour, and then it just happened. So there we go.
Things fall into place. It all works out.
Exactly, exactly.
I would love to think about the new EP again, and what was kind of inspiring you? We spoke a wee bit about the nature and like the Vancouver setting, but was there any kind of artists or events happening in your life that were kind of the stimulus for the writing sessions?
Yeah, totally. For me, in that time, I was listening, and I still am. I was listening to a lot of Role Model. I was listening to a lot of 5 Seconds of Summer. I mean, I listen to a lot of the same music I've listened to for years. There have been new artists that come in and you know take over for a moment, but there was some One Direction inspo on the EP, which was Misery. I'd be fun to see. It'd be fun to see if the fans can guess what song. Uh, but at the time, I was when was this? I think this was August. I had recently, about like 5 months, gotten into a relationship with my best friend. So I had a lot of inspiration there to write about. She's the best. We recently just passed our 1 year anniversary.
Oh, congratulations.
Um, Thank you. And I was also writing about the awful relationship I was in prior. And For me, while I was there, I'll tell you the night that I came up with this concept. I was sitting outside with one of the songwriters. Her name's Sarah, and I was sitting there. We were just talking about Lily, my girlfriend, and I just said out loud. It was a beautiful starry night. We had a little fire going on. It was like a Netflix movie, uh, and I was like, we're long distance, Lily and I, but the fact that I get to miss her is just so great. And I literally said, like, how lucky am I that I get to miss somebody so much? And I was like, that's a song. And then we went into the studio the next day and we wrote a song called How Lucky Am I, which comes out on the 15th, which I'm very excited about. It's one of my favorites on the EP. And when I played it live on tour, people flipped. And it's so cool to see the reaction because this new music is different than everything I've done before. It's, more, I experimented a lot more and I'm experimenting now more for the next project than I have ever been. So it's very cool to see me come up with a brand new idea, a brand new concept, and trying out new sounds and having the fans love it the same, if not even more, than stuff that I've put out before.
Nice. I'm excited to hear that one. That sounds interesting.
Thank
Is
you.
there a previous song that you would compare it to, or is it like a kind of very different sound for you?
Yeah, I would compare it to Not Even Gone, but specifically like the ending of Not Even Gone, if you've heard it.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, there's a part at the end of the song where everything just kind of gets massive and big, and it felt so cool because the song's a ballad, and having it go into that at the end was just a surprise for the fans that I wanted. And we had the idea, what if we made a song that felt like that the entire time? So Not Even Gone, the ending of it is kind of how lucky am I be based around.
Nice. Well, you've built up a really impressive discography of songs, singles, EPs. Um, I'd love to know your personal standout and why. I need to tell you mine first though, because I just
Yes,
love this track. But Blind, I think, is just such a good song. And I keep going back to it, and it's on my like my gym playlist. It's on my kind of favorites
that's
playlist, and
awesome.
each time I hear it, I'm like, that's such a banger.
Dude. Well,
Um,
that's funny you say that. Literally, Blind was playing in an LA Fitness a few years ago, and I was just working out in LA Fitness at the time, and I didn't have headphones, so I was just kind of working out to whatever was playing, and I started like singing along, and I didn't even know what it was, and I automatically went, "Wait a minute, this is me!" And I looked up, and they were playing the music video and everything, and I looked around, and I was like, "Does anyone notice me?" And no
that's
one
me.
did. My ego got smaller. Uh, but recently, Misery's been playing in some gyms too. I had a friend send me a video like, "What are you doing in my gym?" Uh, but Blind is a favorite. It's a fan favorite. I've always kind of closed my show with it. I don't know what I'm going to be doing on my next tour. I like to spice things up. But for me, what's a standout for me? Released. I probably have to go with Wallflower.
Okay.
Wallflower is like if I had to pick a song off the Hopeless Romantic EP, I would pick Wallflower. And just in general, I think it's my favorite song I've put out. It's gonna change when my EP comes out because I don't think I can ever beat the one song on my EP that's coming out. But Wallflower for me, it's just so fun, and it used to be my intro when I was on tour with Jamie, and now it was my encore song when I was on tour with myself.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited. I know I'm gonna always sing that song. It's one of my favorites, and the fans love it a lot too. And I don't know, there's just something about it. It just brings a different energy uh, to the show, to the stage, and I love it.
So it's that until the new EP's out, and then
Yeah. There's a
what?
song on the new EP. It's the closing track. It's my favorite song I've ever written, and I don't think I'm ever gonna beat it.
Ooh, okay, that's high praise. Can you give me the title?
Oh yeah, I mean, it would be silly if I didn't, to be honest, because I based the tour off of it. It's called "Thank You for Loving Me,"
Nice.
and I played it on the tour, and every time I played it, everyone in the front row cried. Everyone was bawling. It was so, like, I'd start singing the song, and within 5 seconds, crying
Oh,
because there were fans that have come to multiple shows and they would know it's coming and they'd start crying and then I'd look at them and then I'd start crying and it was a whole thing.
everyone's just sharing in the emotion. Amazing.
Everyone's just crying. I can't sing. I can't. The band starts crying.
Um,
It's one of my favorites, and that's what I based the tour off of. It was the "Thank You for Loving Me" tour, and I love the song so much, and it's one of my favorites. It was inspired by John Mayer, one of John Mayer's songs that I was listening to a lot at the time.
nice. Well, we will certainly look forward to that one.
Yeah,
I would love to take things right back to young Alex. I mean, you're still young, but young Alex, when you first fell in love with music,
yeah.
is there a defining moment that you're like, that's the moment that I fell in love with a song, or I loved performing, or is there a moment that stands out to you?
Yeah, there's two moments that stand out to me. For me, music has always been a part of my life growing up. My dad would always like be sitting at the computer in the kitchen. I know we have a computer in the kitchen, it's weird. Playing songs, and one of my earliest memories is like loving a favorite song, having a favorite song. And one of those songs was Fireflies by Owl City. I love that song. I still love that song. And I entered my first talent show when I was in fifth grade. And what's funny is I had entered it the year prior, but I broke my arms before I could do it. I was like playing a game of tag, and I play a crazy game of tag. So I broke
I
my
was
arms.
wild. It was.
Yeah, I won. And then the next year I went in, and I remember I sang for the first time on a stage, and I loved it. And I just remember, I personally don't remember this, but my mom said that I got off stage and I basically was talking to her, and I was like, "Oh, mom, like I had this weird feeling on stage." She goes, "Yeah, it's called stage fright." I was like, "No, like I want to go back. Like I want to get back on stage." Uh, and since then, I just kind of knew, and I would always sing. And I always try and practice, get better because I was terrible. My fans have recently found my Smule account, and it's my worst nightmare. My digital footprint is insane. So that's sad for me personally. They're starting to comment photos of me, and I don't know how to log in and delete all of them. But
They're out there
it's
for
I've
the world
known
to
for a
enjoy.
while. What?
They're out there for the world to enjoy.
Dude, yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, no, it's always been a thing for me. But I would say probably that moment when I went on stage for the first time when I was like 8 would be it.
And obviously, things really kind of went up to another level with America's Got Talent. Um,
Yeah.
Reflecting on that experience now, is there anything you wish you knew about going into the sort of talent show process beforehand?
Yeah, I would say I wish I performed a little bit before because AGT was honestly like I think it was the third time I had stepped on a stage professionally when I started music. And I mean, you could just see I just stood there like this, and I just sang. It was bad. I wish I would have performed a little bit more because now if I went on AGT, I'd be running all over the stage. I was so nervous, and I think I would just, if I could go back, I would get a few shows under my belt, get the wiggles out, and then have a little bit more confidence. But it was overall such a fun experience. I loved it. It feels like 10 years ago and yesterday at the same time. But yeah, I loved it. If they ever want me back as a guest star, I would be more than happy.
Yeah, I mean, come over to the UK. We've got Britain's Got Talent here. We'd love to
Hey,
see.
hey,
We want you as a guest performer though, not as an act. You've
yeah,
passed
yeah,
that
yeah.
now.
I want to be talent show boy. The worst thing would happen. I go on Britain's Got Talent and I lose.
We'll
Again.
get you on the judging panel. There you go.
Yes.
Um, it's Simon Cowell, I think still. No, no,
Yep.
it's been a while. Yeah. Um, I would love to know, now you have spent a bit of time in the industry, what is the most surreal moment? Is there any moments you're just like, I can't believe that happened?
Yeah. Let me think about that. I mean, AGT is one of them. When I got told I was gonna go on AGT, I was like, yeah, right. And then I'm like standing on the stage with like, Uh, for me, having a song on the radio, my very first song on the radio was really surreal for me. It still is. Whenever I hear a song, "Misery" just got put on Canadian radio. It's so cool. When I'm just like, I was in an Uber once, and I was on tour with, I think I was on tour with Alexander Stewart. This is almost like 2 years ago now, and I was just on in an Uber on the way back to my hotel, and I was with my drummer, and "Pretty Baby" comes on the radio, and we both looked at each other. We were like, and then we went like my drummer talked to the guy driving. He goes, "Do you know who this is?" He was like, "You." It was so funny. Uh, that and then being on stage for the first time. There are so many moments, and I just booked Summerfest, which is I guess the biggest music festival in the world, and it's crazy. I looked up the stage. I'm crapping my pants. It's insane. It's like the biggest stage I have ever performed on. It will be. But I did do Seoul Jazz Fest, which was my first festival in Korea last year, and that was crazy. There are just so many moments that I could just think of and sit here and be like, wow, me like 3 years ago would be so happy because literally when I started music, the only thing I wanted to do was perform it, go on stage, sing, and just do that. And for years, I didn't get to. I was in a horrible position, and I would just pray. I would just be like, I want to go on stage, and now I can't get off of it. You know what I mean? I'm like every day I'm doing something every week. I'm going on tour. I'm working on my next tour already. So I'm so happy, and just anytime I step on a stage or anytime somebody recognizes me, I'm reminded like, wow, it's crazy.
I mean, it's deserved. You've worked hard, and yeah,
Thank you.
it's great to see you get
I
this
mean, you've been
success.
following.
Yeah. Well, I need to wrap up with just some quick fire questions. Nothing too tricky. First thing that pops into your head. So, your favorite place in Canada?
Favorite place in Canada, my hometown.
Nice. Your favorite artist of all time?
Favorite artist of all time,
All time.
Owl City.
Nice. Um, one album you could not live without.
One album I cannot live without. Young Blood by 5 Seconds of Summer.
Your dream collaboration.
My dream collaboration. I don't want to say Owl City again. I'm gonna say somebody else. I want to say Owl City again. I'm gonna skip it.
Go
Sorry.
Iowa City.
Uh,
Why not?
Owl City. Owl City. Adam, please come on.
Yeah. A song that makes you emotional.
Song that makes me emotional. Uh, what's it called? What's it called? I mean, there's so many songs that make me emotional. One of the songs that I grew up. This is like the first song that made me cry. Um, what is it called? Oh my gosh, it's by Brad Paisley. It's a country song. I can hear it in my brain. Oh my gosh, I need to Whiskey Lullaby
Whiskey Lullaby.
by
Okay.
Brad Paisley.
What is your guilty pleasure track? A track that you maybe shouldn't like, but you do.
A guilty pleasure track. Hold on, let me see. I'm probably listening to it. Let me see. In my on repeat playlist, what do I have? Imagine I'm just like Pretty Baby by Alex Sims. Um, I don't. Do I have a like a track that people would be like, you like that? Hmm. I really can't think of anything. Probably something by Owl City because for some reason
I
people are
mean,
like, why?
yeah, why not? But I think they're like the backup. If there's no answer, I will say they can do
Owl
it.
City, exactly. Owl City's backup, always.
Um, I,
It's either the first option or the backup.
and last question is it? Do you have any closing words to the people watching at home?
Yeah. Thank you for listening to me and thank you for loving me. I can say that now because I have a song that says it. And I'm very excited for everybody to hear my new EP and come see me on my next tour. I'm coming to the UK on my next headline tour. So stay tuned. I'm very excited. I've never headlined in the UK before, so hopefully it goes well. I've had thousands of comments saying come to the UK, so you better. I'm
They'll
holding you
show
to that.
up. They'll be there. They'll be
I
there.
show up. But I guess just thank you, and I'll see you very soon.
Yeah, Alex, honestly, it's been so lovely to chat to you, and I
You
can't
too.
wait to hear the EP. And yeah, just keep doing what you're doing, and excited to see you in
Thank
the
you.
UK soon.
Yeah, it's gonna be so fun. I'm so excited.